For 49 years, 5 months, and 2 days, Roe v. Wade was the law of the land. It guaranteed constitutional protections for all Americans who wanted or needed to get an abortion. Today marks 50 years since the Supreme Court handed down its decision on that case, and the right to an abortion in America is no longer a guarantee. Millions of Americans of reproductive age across 14 states no longer have access to legal abortion care, as states enacted abortion bans that have forced many clinics to close or to relocate. For many years, even before the fall of Roe, the health care providers who operated those clinics have been some of the most vulnerable groups of Americans, often targeted simply for providing safe and legal medical care. Protesters often greeted them at the entrance of their clinics. Many received threats. A handful were murdered. And in the post-Dobbs era, health care providers have become the main targets of the new anti-abortion laws across this country. Abortion providers can be jailed for up to 10 years as a punishment in Georgia and up to life in prison under one of the anti-abortion laws in Texas. 10 years ago, my colleagues at The Rachel Maddow Show produced a special report for the 40th anniversary of Roe v. Wade. And for that report, they spoke with abortion providers in some of the most anti-abortion states across the country, including Julie Burkhart, who had previously worked with Dr. George Tiller, a Kansas abortion provider who was murdered for the work he did. At the time of the taping, Julie was renovating and reopening Dr. Tiller's old clinic in Wichita, Kansas, which had made her the target of harassment and violence.
It does give one pause because, these are folks who now know my home address. They can attempt to monitor my actions. And they can do that to any other employee here at the clinic. So it's something that we take very seriously, but it will not deter us.
The team also interviewed Tammy Kromenacher, who ran Red River Women's Clinic, which until recently was the only abortion clinic in North Dakota. She's been the target of the anti-abortion crowd, too, but that didn't stop her from continuing to provide her services to the community. Here's what she said 10 years ago.
You don't work in a place like Fargo, North Dakota, if you aren't committed to providing that service and if it doesn't give you rewards back. And the stories I hear from women, the information they give us, the stories they tell us, the emotions they display, that's what keeps me coming day after day, is to be able to help those women through a really difficult time in their life. And there's a lot of satisfaction with that.
That's the sort of grit and determination that you often hear from the people who run these clinics, even in the face of unwarranted harassment and great adversity. Julie Burkhart and Tammy Kromenacher are both still working to provide access to abortion, although each have relocated to other parts of the country. After founding and serving this as the CEO of Trust Women in Kansas and Oklahoma, Julie is now working to provide abortion care in Wyoming as president of Wellspring Health Access. Tammy served North Dakota as the director of Red River Women's Clinic up until Roe was overturned last summer. Since then, however, she's moved her clinic across state lines in Minnesota, a state that has stronger abortion rights protections than North Dakota has. Julie Burkhart and Tammy Kromenacher join me now. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being with us. You've both been such important sources of wisdom and information for us in the last very complicated year. Julie, let me start with you. After successfully opening and heading Trust Women's clinics in Kansas and Oklahoma, you've moved to Wyoming. So I guess I have two questions. One, why Wyoming? And two, abortion is currently still legal in Wyoming, but only because of a court order. So tell me what you think happens there before you even open your doors.
Yes, and good morning. Well, we saw Wyoming as an opportunity. Wyoming is an underserved state. There is no procedural abortion provider in the state of Wyoming at this time. There is one medication abortion provider on the western slope of the state. And we saw it as an opportunity to be able to come in, expand services, and give more people in the Mountain West an opportunity to access abortion care closer to their homes. As
Tammy,
for our legal...
Go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
No. As for our legal challenge, us, along with 5 other plaintiffs, we sued the state of Wyoming over the summer when the trigger ban was set to go into effect. We saw that within the Wyoming Constitution, there is a right, as we interpret it, for people to have protections when it comes to their healthcare decisions. And so we feel fortunate that we've been able to, maintain abortion rights in Wyoming.
Tammy, you moved your clinic from North Dakota to Minnesota, not terribly far last year. Your new location, close to your old location, but each state's abortion laws make it feel like these are two different worlds. So tell me about the move and how things are different in the new location.
Good morning, Allie. Thanks for having me. And hi, thanks. I'm so glad to share airtime with my friend Julie. Minnesota and North Dakota could not be more starkly different. Literally right now in the legislatures, North Dakota is working overtime to ban abortion and make it virtually impossible to provide there. And Minnesota is working to enshrine abortion rights. We are watching legislators in Minnesota talk positively about abortion, defend against nonsense amendments that are being brought forward. And North Dakota has this crazy super Republican majority. They're going to pass it. They're going to make it impossible to provide abortion care there. But we are 5 minutes away from our old location in Fargo. And so virtually for the patients that we serve from North Dakota, South Dakota, and northwestern Minnesota, access has not changed for them at all.
Julie, as I noted earlier, you have been the target of threats and violence, both of you, for your career, really. Last year, the clinic and that your organization is trying to open up in Casper, Wyoming, was set on fire. What's happened since then? Has that case been resolved?
The case has not been resolved. The perpetrator is still at large, and law enforcement have been diligently looking for this person. I must say that these arson attacks, and there have been at least 5 over the last 18 months here in the United States, committed against abortion providers. So we're one of those 5 across the country. But this has very deep financial, emotional, and sometimes physical impact on people who are trying to provide abortion care.
Tammy, the last time you were on this show, shortly after Roe was overturned, you told us about anti-abortion people stalking your clinic. It's something you've dealt with for many years. Does that persist in your new location, and does Minnesota have stronger laws to protect abortion providers against violence?
There's really no difference in the laws, but the physical location that we have has made a huge difference. We now have a parking lot where our patients can drive in, whereas in downtown Fargo, they literally had to walk a gauntlet of anti-abortion protesters. So patients who've been at our Fargo location, I had a community advocate who brought someone in with them last week and said, what a difference. It's made a huge difference for the way our patients enter our building. They're no longer upset and crying and adrenaline pumping from having these people harass them and intimidate them and bully as they come in. It's another night and day contrast between the two states.
Julie, you told WNYC last November that you thought the results of the 2022 midterms solidified your feelings and your decision to go to Wyoming to open up a clinic. What about the midterms influenced you?
Well, yes. I mean, we saw that not only with the, the outcome of the constitutional amendments that were up on the ballot in Kansas, Montana, Kentucky, we saw very clearly that people across this country, even if you're in the reddest of states, believe that there should be a constitutional protection for abortion rights. And so that just further confirmed my feelings, and also what we've seen through research over the years, that no matter where you live, even if you live in a deeply red state, you still want access to abortion care.
Tammy, the place you've moved to in Minnesota, the place you've moved your clinic, Moorhead, Minnesota, awarded you with a Human Rights Award last month, so congratulations on that, first of all. But after all that you've endured in a state that didn't support you or your profession, how did you feel with that news? I cannot tell you, it's 5 minutes away. I've lived in this community for over 25 years. And we have been welcomed at every level of government in the state of Minnesota. I was born and raised here. So it was very gratifying, to see the work. And I really said it may have been given to me, but it was for our whole team to receive that award. And there are people who sit on the city council in Moorhead that are dear old friends of mine, professors,
They came to an event we had the other night and again reiterated their support. There's a state senator there who asked me to testify in the Minnesota legislature. It feels like the right place for us to be. And if you'd asked us 20 years ago, should we have moved? Yeah, the answer would have been yes. Minnesota is much more accepting of abortion, and the laws here are so much different and less stigmatizing than North Dakota is. And so we are in our new blue home, and we're very happy here.